It's the Infectious Groove Podcast, recorded at the 33rd Music Appreciation Center in Speakeasy, just outside of Detroit, Michigan. The Infectious Groove Podcast is your source for jammy jams, music news, and the best in-depth music discussion. Now here's your host.
Hello and welcome. I am your host. My name is Russ, which I learned this week when listening to a review of our show on there's a podcast called What Podcast Should I Listen To? They did a review and they heaped a lot of praises on us, which was great. And they made quite a big deal out of the fact that I don't say my name often enough. And they were like, so Michelle, Kyle, and the other guy. And I really drove the point home. So I am Russ, and I am
You
happy.
are Russ.
I am Russ, and we're missing a spoke this week.
We are.
Spoke from the wheel. This is I think only the second Kyle-less episode of. So if your doctor's advised you that you need less Kyle in your diet, this is the episode for you. However, we are joined in studio by our good friend from the west side of the state, from the beer capital of the world, I think. Josh, how you doing?
Good. Happy to be here.
He is happy to be here, which is more than you can say for the four members of our featured group that we're going to be talking about. We're going to get into the Beatles, who by the time the end of their tenure, no one was happy to be there by any stretch of the imagination. And you can clearly hear the band breaking up over the course of at least the last two records, that's for sure. So we're going to go through our normal segments. We've got just a little bit of music news. We got our jammy jams, which I could be right. Josh, when you wake up every Monday morning, you just can't wait till you hear what Michelle's jammy jams are?
It's the highlight of my day.
Yeah. Well,
the week, probably.
The week. Yeah, I would say the week.
Yeah.
To be
Twice on
honest.
Saturday.
Like I'm, hashtag blessed because I get to know before everybody else, and then I spend most of the next day being like, how the hell is she listening to that crap? But I know before everybody else, so I'm really happy about it. So in any case, let's get right into the little music news that we do have.
Music news.
So the only music news really that I could think to report on from this last week, I should say I first heard about this just this morning, actually. We're recording this on Saturday. And then there have been two press releases so far today to clarify this news, and neither clarified this news. So
Sounds about right.
by the time this episode comes out, it probably will have been re-clarified. And by the time we record our next episode, it will probably be a whole other mess that we'll report on again. So
There'll probably be 10 different press releases between now and Monday anyway.
For sure. So what I am referring to is, I'm sure if you listen to the show, you've probably heard that Facebook is updating their terms of service. I believe it goes into effect on October 1st. And essentially what it says is live bands are not allowed to play live shows on Facebook. Now, they tried to clarify that, and they said, well, what we're saying is you can't use videos, post videos to your channel or to your page, or go live to sell a product, which I get to some extent. I understand that to some extent, but at the same time, and this doesn't just go for bands. If I'm following, Dollar Shave Club on Facebook,
Do you follow Dollar Shave Club, or are you just hoping that they sponsor our show?
Yeah, I'm hoping that they sponsor our show. If I'm following that product on Facebook, don't I want to see stuff about, wouldn't I want them to post videos and things? And I'm talking about even outside of a band.
But that's businesses can do that, so I don't understand. That's a business.
Maybe not going forward is the thing. So that's part of what is attempted to have been clarified twice.
I should probably look into that.
But essentially, the thing that the internet freaked out over this morning is the original verbiage of it. Basically, in so many words, says if a band goes live on Facebook, Facebook can just dump their page.
That's ridiculous.
Which is ridiculous. So to me, and when I sent the text to you, you were like, "Why is this a thing?" And because record companies, it's just another way that it's completely mismanaged. The whole idea of how to get music into the hands of the people that want to buy it. So I don't understand it. And have you guys seen, I always bitch about those, have you seen the ads I'm talking about where it's bootleg ass music related stuff, or maybe it's just me that it shows up in my feed, but it's a really poorly photoshopped picture of Paul McCartney supposedly holding this terrible looking Beatles shirt, right?
Yep.
I do not understand how it's okay for Facebook to take money from those people for ads, but the Beatles couldn't put a live footage up on their page to, God forbid, sell a record.
Right. Don't promote.
Right. So
they want you to pay for it.
Right. But to say that they won't even be able to do it at all makes no sense to me.
That makes no sense, because they should just make people pay for it. Well, actually, they shouldn't do that. But if they're I'd rather that than nothing.
Right. So, anyways, there wasn't a whole lot going on. There was still some fallout from the VMAs, but if I'm being honest, who really gives a good goddamn? Like, nothing outside of what we initially talked about, with the VMAs. Like, who?
The only thing I ever heard from the VMAs was Lady Gaga and The Weeknd, and that was it.
Which is, the Weeknd thing would be accurate for at least the past 3 or 4 years, and Lady Gaga's accurate for, like, if someone was to say, hey, what about the VMAs from 8 years ago? You'd be like, oh, the Lady Gaga thing, and just be right.
Yeah, or you could just be like, the Lady Gaga VMAs, and they're like, which one?
Right.
There's 10 of them.
Yeah, absolutely. So, boy, I sure hope this lives up to the hype. Let's move on to our next segment.
Our jammies.
For me and my Jammy Jams, and again, these are Russ's Jammy Jams, because I'm Russ, hosting the show.
Hi, Russ.
Hi, Michelle. So for me, I've had a two-way split this last week. 2 artists that I think couldn't be more different, and Josh, you were over spinning records last night, so you had to deal with the fact that I was going to listen to these bands no come hell or high water. Hall & Oates and R.E.M. For some reason.
Not Pearl Jam?
No, not Pearl Jam. Did you know this, by the way? I don't know if you've heard it on the show, but she can't tell the difference between Pearl Jam and R.E.M.
I just don't know which one's which. It's fine.
So, Hall & Oates, as we know, has just a parade of hits, like a ridiculous parade of hits. And so they have a greatest hits package just called Rock and Roll Soul Part 1. And it's one of the only records that I own that I don't ever look at side 1 or side 2. When I pull it, I just throw like whatever side is facing up, I throw on, and you're going to get gold. Right. It was like last night, I think we probably had about 5 or 10 people here, and it was like every song that started, people were like, oh, I love this song.
Right.
That's the magic of Hall & Oates. Yeah. And then R.E.M., I was very specific to the Out of Time record this week, which, has monster hits on it. Losing My Religion, Shiny Happy People. And for some reason, though, the opening track of that record, and I'm not being funny, I don't think you probably know it. It's called Radio Song.
I don't think I do.
And it's such a great, like we were talking about it last night. Losing My Religion is not in any way a bad song, and I'm not mad that it's an enormous hit, but like Radio Song is so much more creative than Losing My Religion is. Right. And I just wish it was a bigger, let me put it this way, it's got KRS-One rapping on an R.E.M. song that opens the same record that Losing My Religion is on. So just from a creativity standpoint. Plus, it's the theme of the song is, and this was back in '91, was about how everybody gets spoon-fed all the same art. And, there's not, you need to like have your own mind and think your own way and whatnot. And so I love the messaging of the song, and I think it's just a hell of a way to kick the record off, Anybody that's never, like if I put it on right now and you dug the song, but, first time hearing it, you're just like, oh, that's cool. Like the second the song fades out, Losing My Religion hits. And you're like, well, that's going to sell a bajillion copies.
And it did.
Yeah. I'm certain when that record was turned into the label, they were all just like, gentlemen, let's all go get houses.
Cash them checks.
Yeah. So,
but that was Pearl Jam you were talking about.
Correct.
Right?
It was Pearl Jam. Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely. Yeah, from Athens, Georgia. Pearl Jam. Yeah. Boy, I'd say there's just no way to hype this up properly. Michelle, come down to the people. Come down from your high perch and share with everyone your Jammy Jams.
I
swear to God, I thought I was going to be like, pass.
I was going to do that, and then I was like, he might hit me from across this table.
You just hear next.
So this kind of has a backstory. Do you remember when we went to see, and I want to say it was Jen Wigmore at St. Andrews.
On my birthday? Sure do.
Yeah, I think it was her. We saw some show at St. Andrews, and we were outside, and there was a guy who had his car parked in front of it, and he had he was living in it.
Wait. Are you going to tell a story about us buying drugs?
No.
Okay.
I wish.
Yeah.
And you were like, well, it looks like that guy lives here. And then
he is the opener.
It was the opener.
Yes.
And so, and I bought a CD because he was amazing, and, and I had him sign it. So that's where the story's going. So anyways, I was listening to
the story literally could have went 10 different ways.
I was trying to figure out where we were going.
I was there, and I couldn't figure out where we were going. But no, I can totally see it in my mind now.
So I was on one of my Spotify playlists, and I was like, holy shit, this sounds like I like this song, and like, what is going on? And I checked, and it was that guy. And
new release by that cat? And whom are we talking about?
His name is Devin Gilfillian.
Oh, that Gilfillian?
It's Gilfillian. Okay. So it's like Gilfillian?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did we not end up seeing him open for the Bellow too?
Maybe.
I think we have at one point. I dug into his whole catalog and was several records since we saw him.
No. He's got a couple singles and I think just two, maybe just one. Maybe this may be his first full debut album that I found. And it's called Black Hole Rainbow, and I liked it. I don't
remember the style of music that he would have been playing. Was it singer-songwriter-ish?
Yeah. It's mostly, when we saw him, it was just him and his guitar.
That's right.
Yeah, but it was good. I liked it. He's got some other singles that I liked.
Like, the whole night is literally coming back to me in pieces right now. Like, I can now remember him being alone on stage. Yeah.
Yes, and he was just mesmerizing live. And with so he has like the I don't know, is it the EP that was like 4 songs? That's what I bought at the show, and he had signed it. That's on Spotify, and then there's like a couple one-offs, and then this is I think his first like debut full album that came out. I like it. I only listened to it like once all the way through. I would definitely recommend it. I want to dig into it more and his other catalog. So that's what I've been digging into this week.
If somebody wants to easily find that song,
it'll be on our Spotify playlist.
Which is, I pimped that out shamelessly on our social media, and it's getting more and more attention. So
yeah, we went from like 6 followers to 20 in like 1 week.
Yeah, which is cool. So
it doesn't sound like a lot, but it is a lot.
Right? No, it is. And we get there's every time I talk about it or I post about it or anything, people are always like, "That's an amazing idea." And every time I make sure to say it came from a listener. We were like 4 episodes in, and there was a listener that tweeted at us that was like, do you think you guys could go through the trouble of putting together a Spotify playlist, because I always want to hear these songs that you guys are talking about, but I never remember to look them up. So we were like, yeah, why not? So we do it every single week, and so everything you're hearing us talk about on here, I'm going to guess that this week's going to be Beatles heavy. But
what?
Yeah.
I also had a friend of mine who texted me, and she said that she has to listen to our show before the playlist at home because she writes everything down, like all the songs, and she can't do it while she's driving. So she's like, I strictly have to listen to it while I'm at home.
So now
we helped everyone out.
Yeah, our show has become a public health hazard. So we started the playlist to get around that. So please say his name one more time.
Devin Gilfillian.
Okay, and I remember what's funny is we always say the Kaleo thing where they never say their name live. Yeah. I remember him saying his name a couple of times.
And I remember him making a joke where it's like sounds Irish or something. Yeah. Like it was in
fact not Irish.
He's not Irish. No, he's black, and so it was a joke. So right. Well, I guess he could be Irish, but he definitely wasn't.
Right. So and that's been your jams this week?
That's been my jams this week.
Right on. Yeah, I used to, when we first started the show, I used to feel like every week I needed to be like, I'm this big, deep music guy, and I have to tell you all of these songs that I'm listening to. And now I'm just like, been listening to Hall & Oates and R.E.M. Like, you should too. So okay. So Josh, hello and welcome to your first My Jammy Jams. What have you been listening to, brother?
Well, our topic obviously is the Beatles, so that definitely got me going.
You listen to quite a bit of Beatles.
I listen a little bit.
Dabble.
I know a few songs.
You dabble.
So I listened to a little bit of that this week. Rubber Soul.
So some of the records that aren't near their top.
Yeah, not the best.
Sure,
but we'll get into that.
But and then last night you were just telling me about. Are they country?
They are. Country pop maybe.
Oh, sure.
There's a new song by Dan and Shay. I'm not that adversed, I guess, in their previous catalog, but a song I Should Probably Go to Bed. New single.
That's your jam.
I've been listening to it quite a bit this week. Also, to kind of carry on with that, 90s country. I don't know, 90s, 80s country.
That's good stuff, though, man.
All over the place, from Tim McGraw to Kenny Chesney to George Strait and Travis Tritt.
You know what's funny is Garth was gigantic in the 90s, obviously, but for some reason, if someone, like when you just said the phrase 90s country, Tim McGraw flies into my head first. Yeah. Always, for whatever reason. I don't know why. Either that or Shania, I think of too, because Shania was huge everywhere in the 90s. Yeah, but that Dan and Shay song, and I talked to you about this last night. I've seen them all over everything, but I've never heard a song by them, and I didn't know that you liked them, Michelle. I thought
I've sent you songs before, you just don't listen.
Oh yeah, it's like when she sends me TikToks, I just scroll on by.
You and Kyle both, man. Yep. This is important information.
TikTok.
Yes.
This is how we share information.
There's never been a more inaccurate statement than TikTok contains important information.
Yes.
No.
There's a tortoise on there. His name is Tiptoes, and he's amazing.
So Dan and Shay. Let me ask you this: Is that song? I should go to bed. Or
I should probably go to bed.
Probably go to bed.
Yep.
Is that song good enough to make you be like, well, hey, let me go back and dig in, or is it just it's just a good tune?
I think it's just a good tune. I've heard some of their singles before, and I'm not as I didn't care for it as much, but this one caught my my attention.
Right on. Sweet. All right. Well, there you go. There is some new Jammy Jams, and the only thing that's devoid this week is that we don't have Kyle, so we don't have a whole shitload of diversity. Like usually Kyle brings stuff that no one else is listening to, which is great.
Yeah.
And so this week it's kind of a plain Jane edition of.
I wish I had a crickets button.
Oh, I thought I made you crickets. I think I made it. No, I did make you crickets. I absolutely did make you crickets, and you didn't load it on the thing.
That doesn't sound like me.
That is 1,000% accurate. As a matter of fact.
You didn't send that to me.
I 1,000% sent that to you. All right, anyways, moving right along.
It's time for the Infectious Groove Podcast. Main topic of discussion.
So whether or not you adore the Beatles, dabble in the Beatles, or know a little bit about them, want to learn more, the Beatles are a topic that I don't think is ever going to not be discussed. Like, I think they're just going to carry on forever, And one thing that I think is just stunning about the Beatles, and this isn't like to put you on the spot, Michelle, do you have any idea how long they were an active band?
No, I was just going to guess, but I don't even want to
Take a flying guess.
That they were an active band?
Yeah. Which, by the way, my definition is when Ringo joined, because he was the last member to join, until their last record came out.
10 years.
8.
Close.
Yeah, but that's a stunningly small amount of time. So Josh and I were debating that beforehand. No, because there's a vast difference between what's considered an official record that was released in the UK and what's considered an official record that was released here in the US. The smallest number that you'll come across is 10, like what most people consider to be full Beatles records.
Okay.
The largest number that you'll come across that most people consider to be Beatles records, because there's like debate on whether or not Magical Mystery Tour counts and stuff like that.
Right.
There's some EPs and whatnot. Anyways, is 13. Either way, let's go with 10.
That's at least 2 a year.
Yeah, 10 records in 8 years.
Right.
And we're still talking about it, 60 years later.
Yeah.
50, 60 years later, we're still talking about this band.
8 years.
Yeah, in 8 years. It's just the amount of productivity that went on in the music industry in those days is insane compared to, the two stats I always throw out to everybody is between 1957 and 1964. Do you have any idea how many motion pictures Elvis Presley made? Now, these were not the pinnacle of, motion picture quality.
How many years? Wait, you said what?
Between 57 and 64.
20.
Good guess.
Hold on. Is that 7 years?
Yeah. Very good, Michelle. How many? Take a guess.
Hold on. 15.
33.
What?
Yeah, and there was a soundtrack for every one of them. And
so it's like 3 movies a year?
Right. And then the other stat that I always...
There's too much math going on right now.
That's like 4 movies a year.
Right. Yep. And again, these were not, every single one of them is Elvis is a fill in the blank who's down on his luck and gets the girl, mechanic,
33?
Whatever. Yeah. Yeah, he had made 35 total because he had the concert films for That's the Way It Is and Elvis on Tour came out in 70 and 72 respectively, but yeah, 33 of his 35 motion pictures came out within 7 years, which is insane.
That's like one movie every 3 months.
Yep. And then the other stat I always give out to people too is like Pink Floyd. Floyd has 15 studio records, and of them they have 2 of the top 10 largest selling records of all time. And they put out a record in 73, 75, 77, and then a double record in 79. That's insane,
Yeah.
And then when I became a Pink Floyd fan, they put out a record in 87 and 94, and that's it. It was just like, here's 2.
But are they quality?
Like I say, with the Floyd thing, 2 of those records that came out in that time span are in the top 10 largest selling records of all time. Dark Side of the Moon and The Wall.
Yeah.
Wish You Were Here. Most Pink Floyd fans, that's their personal favorite, and then Animals is a whole other thing that's just completely brilliant. So yeah, and that's the thing with the Beatles. The Beatles, and we joke, and we're going to get into this about our favorites and stuff. I would argue that there's really not bad Beatles material in the bunch. Like I can't think of any Beatles that you would put on that I would be like, oh damn it. Any at all. So I just want to do a little background. I know everybody knows of the Beatles or probably does, but I've been told that that's a helpful part of our show, that we don't just assume that everyone knows what we're talking about.
Like YouTube. I appreciate that.
Right, correct. We always have to re-explain. I don't know if you've used YouTube, Josh, but
I have.
Michelle has not. So the first question that I have for you guys, and Michelle, we'll start with you. When did you first get into the Beatles? Like, what's the first time you can remember being like, oh, I'm a Beatles fan?
I mean, I think we talked about it before, but
for sure,
I remember being in the back seat of my friend's car, like her dad was driving, and being in the back seat, and "Run for Your Life" came on. And I don't know if it was on the radio or a cassette that he was playing. I don't remember, but I remember being like, what is this? Like, I've heard the Beatles, like, at this point. I was old enough.
Yeah.
I remember when I was younger than that, calling into an AM radio station and requesting Yellow Submarine all night with my friend, like, trying to get them to play it, and they wouldn't.
Right.
But then that was the first moment in my life where I was like, what is this? Like, why do I not know what this is?
I figure that either "Run for Your Life" or "Maxwell Silverhammer" would be the thing that
for
would
sure.
grab in knowing you.
Yep.
That would be the two Beatles tracks where you would be like, wait a minute, the "I Want to Hold Your Hand" guys are talking about murdering people?
Right.
Hell yeah, sign me up.
Yeah, and so that was my first like eye-opening experience. And then I remember my parents, I was like, you need to find this one Beatles song, and they were like, that's not a Beatles song, like you're making this up. And then they when at the time they told me the story that they went to like 3 record stores and they were like, my daughter wants the song, and they were like, that's not a Beatles song. Like nobody knew what they were talking
about. Which is crazy
because it was like before the internet, so they were just like, I don't know. And then they finally found it, and I remember getting the CD, and I was so excited. So
that's the best, that you're the type of kid that your parents were like, we have to find that song for her about the murdering.
Right.
Well, they didn't know.
Every record store they went to, they were probably like, Eminem? Does she want Eminem?
That's a dark song.
Yeah, you ain't kidding. So, Josh, you've been into the Beatles for quite some time. When did you first get into them?
For me, when I got into the Beatles, it was actually much later. I was probably a sophomore in high school, and it was right around the time Beatles won.
Okay,
the compilation album,
and that's
dropped.
a really solid compilation.
Yeah, it's fantastic, and it just like over and over these commercials of this band, right?
Oh, it was everywhere.
It was everywhere.
You went. I remember, like, I think I maybe worked at Media Play, maybe, and it was like there was like signs and end caps, and like they were pretty much giving them away at the door.
Really simple but cool cover art too.
Right.
Just the yellow one, right?
Bright red with the yellow.
Bright red and yellow.
Yeah.
And I just when that happened, I just kind of dug into it, and I just kept going and going, and I never stopped. I didn't look back.
For me, what's funny is, we were not an anti-Beatles house by any stretch. Like, my folks never put on the Beatles on purpose, but when the Beatles came on the radio, they wouldn't turn it or anything. My mom would sing along with the songs. But what always got played on the radio, at least back then, when my mom would have what then was considered the oldies station on,
Right.
Now most of the music we grew up on is on the oldies station, but...
What are you talking about, we?
Yeah, you as well. Mm-mm. And remember when you were listening to the classic rock station and they were playing Rage Against the Machine? And so, anyways,
that's shameful.
So I had my mom's sister, my aunt, was just kind of like they moved or something, and they were getting rid of like a bunch of old beat up records that they had, and the only Beatles album that they had in the mix was the White Album. And I, having only ever heard "Ticket to Ride," "I Want to Hold Your Hand," or whatever else, I was just like, okay, you come home as an 8-year-old and drop the needle on the White Album when all you've ever heard is "Can't Buy Me Love" or "Help."
Right.
Holy shit, a whole different world.
Mine just got blown.
Yeah, and it was, there's, as an 8-year-old, there's parts in that record like Revolution 9 is flat out scary. Like I was literally like, what is why is this happening? It just really got me into the whole world. I was just like, if these guys are this diverse and creative on this record, I can't wait to hear more.
Now, what number is the White Album?
What was it? 8? Probably.
It's
one of the last. It's like the second to last.
You mean as far as
in chronological order?
That came out right before.
Came out in 69, didn't it? 68, 69?
I think it was like 60, 67, 68.
Yeah. And they had something else came out the same year too.
Right, based on number, depending on what your album count is. It was like number 11.
Okay, yeah, depending on how you look at it.
How you count it.
But it's one of the last ones to come out.
That's what I thought, but I didn't know if it was the last one.
Yeah.
It was the third to last.
Abbey Road or Let It Be?
Abbey Road was the last album to come out.
And I should have looked this up for sure, but I think Let It Be was recorded before Abbey Road, and then Abbey Road got released after Let It Be.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
And but yeah, it's
came out the same year.
Knowing what I know now, the White Album is the sound of the band breaking up. Like, it's the sound of all 4 guys going in totally different directions.
Yeah,
and
you
not,
can hear it.
And not even remotely being interested in what the other one was doing.
No.
So, having said that, I mean, you kind of know my answer to this, but what is your favorite Beatles record? And furthermore, why? So we'll start with Josh this time. Do you have a favorite? I feel like you're deep enough into the Beatles where if I ask you every day of the week, it's going to be a different answer.
Yeah, it would be a different answer, and I think it's like picking between children.
Oh, for sure. That's how I am.
I only have one child, thank God. But
that's how I am with Floyd.
Yeah, it just depends on the day of the week. I try to think about that. And for me, it's
like today. If you what Beatles mood are you in today?
Like today, I would be all about Abbey Road.
Right on.
I'm an Abbey Road day kind of day. But the Sgt. Pepper's album is a fantastic album. It's so diverse and breaking ground, right? Then the
Sgt. Pepper's is part of the Holy Trilogy of rock. Yeah. I mean, Sgt. Pepper's riles up the Beach Boys enough to make them do Pet Sounds, and Sgt. Pepper enough riles up Pink Floyd enough to make Dark Side of the Moon.
Yep, it's a dark chain of events there. But the White Album is a fan. I mean, that for me, I think it's Sgt. Pepper's White Album, or for me, are my top albums.
So the reason why I love the White Album as much as I do is because you hear the band breaking up, but there's so much diversity on it. And you get a little of everything the Beatles do on one record, and they all do it great. It's not like you would say, "Man, I love when the Beatles do a good acoustic ballad." Well, there's one on the White Album, but it's really not all that good. It's Blackbird, for crying out loud,
right?
You know what I mean? So, I mean, for me, without a doubt, the White Album is number one. But in the past couple of years, man, I have grown this unbelievable affection for Revolver. That record is straight up out of control.
I was actually just looking up this because I was like, I'm pretty sure Revolver's my second favorite, and I was just looking up the track listing to make sure, and that I was like, oh yeah, that.
And when you looked at the track listing, you were like, fire.
Yeah. I was like, I couldn't remember if it was that one or one other one, and then I was like, oh yeah, yep, nope.
And that's and that Rubber Soul and Revolver, they said that could have been a double album
for sure.
That's how closely.
If Revolver was a 12-inch single for Tomorrow Never Knows, it would still be my second favorite Beatles record. Like that song is just off the charts. And really, it's a showcase for the fifth Beatle too, for George Martin. If you've ever heard about George Martin and you want to know why he's referred to as the fifth Beatle or what he did for the Beatles, listen to the song Tomorrow Never Knows, and it'll tell you everything you need to know. So, Michelle, I know we have talked about this on the show before, and you and I have we've actually had arguments. We've actually had arguments in public about this loud enough to where total strangers have been like, gone up to her and been like, "Are you okay?"
It's usually one of the questions that we ask people when we first meet them. Yeah, it's what's your favorite Beatles
before
album?
we all her and I will corner people and be like, before we go any further, what's your favorite Beatles record? And then we stare them down and while they uncomfortably try and think of what they want one of us to hear.
Right. Yeah, I think we're tied. I don't know that we ever.
Yeah, I'd say we're tied right now.
Yeah, I feel like there were a lot of people that said Rubber Soul that I was shocked at, and I don't know if that's just because they didn't want me to hit them or.
Yeah, I would say it's probably for fear.
I'd be scared a little bit.
Fear of physical strike for sure.
Rubber Soul for me though is more nostalgia. Like I just remember getting that and like just playing it front to back and like just over and over and over.
And
again.
that's a powerful thing.
Yeah,
nostalgia.
Yeah, and so, but I would say that Revolver is probably my second favorite, and that's just that's.
I don't think we've ever realized that we agree on that.
Yeah.
So from now on, we'll just back down. We'll be like, well, Revolver.
What's your second favorite album?
Yeah. And then if someone doesn't say Revolver, then we team up.
Both get to beat them.
Yeah.
So, but I just think that's for more. I mean, there's plenty of Beatles songs that I love on other albums, but just for nostalgia reasons, it's definitely Rubber Soul.
Yeah, and. Like all kidding aside, Rubber Soul is in no way, shape, or form a bad record.
No.
It's one of those things where I think like my nostalgia for the White Album riles me up that much to where I'm like, not up in here. Like there's no way it's this.
So it's the same for both of us. We're just both really nostalgic about those albums.
Well, that and the fact that the songs as a whole are better on the White Album. Also,
were you meant to say Rubber Soul?
No, White Album is what
I feel like you guys gave Piece of
Rubber
Chance.
Soul wrong.
You guys gave Piece of Chance.
Good one.
Nice.
Wrong.
God damn it.
Wrong.
Take it back.
That is the worst idea I've ever had in my life. Is making her this drop.
It's now become way more uncomfortable.
Yeah. So here's what's going to happen. I'm going to take us a break, and actually we've got a lot more to discuss about the Beatles, which will be pretty sweet. And Josh kind of had a zinger there that we're going to move into the second half. Josh said that you and I should give Peace a chance.
No.
Yeah. So with that actually leads us into in the second half, we're going to talk a little bit about the solo material and the things outside the Beatles. So give us just a couple of seconds here, and we will be right back with you.
Hi there, I'm Kyle Sutton.
I'm Trisha Campbell.
And we're the hosts of My Drunk Movie Theater. Join us every week as we go through the silly things that we wind up getting up to at our jobs working at a local multiplex. We also talk about all the current events that are happening in the movie world that affect us and affect you as the viewers. Trisha?
We also get off topic quite a bit and we'll ramble, so there's that too.
Yeah, well, alcohol does that to you. So hit the subscribe button. You can listen to us on iTunes, Spotify, almost anywhere that your podcasts are available.
Ich bin ein
Science.
cannabinoids, genetics, coronavirus, dogs. This is Petri Dish.
Science.
We're a science podcast exploring complex subjects with clarity and evil humor. Join the scientific revolution. Join Petri Dish, dropping every Monday on anchor.fm/Petri Dish.
Was A Quiet Place inspired by Signs It Comes at Night and War for the Planet of the Apes? Was Ready Player One influenced by Avatar, Wreck-It Ralph, and The Last Starfighter? Is a Hurricane Heist more influenced by Sharknado or Geostorm? These are the kinds of questions my guest co-hosts and I discuss on my podcast, Piecing It Together. Every week we look at a new movie and try to figure out what other movies inspired it. Whether it's the story, the character development, tone, or even use of music. Every movie was influenced by something that came before, and we want to figure out what. Check out Piecing It Together on your favorite podcast app or check us out on piecingpod.com. You can also follow us on social media at piecingpod. Piecing It Together is a part of the All Points West podcast network.
We're back. It's the second half of our probably the first of many Beatles specials, if I was to guess. And
I mean, there's not really enough material to talk about.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, with their almost no legacy whatsoever that hasn't lived on at all.
Yeah.
And my name is Russ, and we are in the middle of a Kyle-less episode. I'm a little sad about it, but we're going to move on.
Pour one out for your homie.
Yeah, pour one out for Kyle. Well, which, by the way, Kyle didn't pass or anything. He's just
we didn't break up.
He's just working.
He's at work.
Yeah, he's just working.
He's doing things.
I feel like I should have clarified that at the beginning. Like, people are going to be like, I can't believe they're just moving on. Like,
We've replaced him.
Yeah.
Goodbye.
Yeah. And please welcome the new Kyle. It'll take about 2 episodes until Michelle's like, you're not my dad. So, anyways, we are discussing quite a bit about the Beatles. So, we don't have to go real in depth on this, but and I feel like, Josh, for you, this is going to be one of those things that's like it changes daily or hourly. Do you have a favorite Beatles song, Josh?
I do, and this is going to be weird, but it's not even one they recorded together necessarily. Free as a Bird. Because of all
Free as a Bird
history.
and Real Love are so good. And for those listening, if you don't know what those are songs that were recorded post John Lennon Mortem, and they had tapes that they cleaned up of John's vocal, and George was still with us at the time, so the other 3 Beatles got together and recorded backing tracks and John's singing over them. And Free as a Bird is so good, and Real Love is as well. But
yeah, it's just I think that everything that went into that, they all 3 of them got back together, found that tape. Yoko gave it to him. That was nice.
Which is ironic.
That's nice of her. And it was all a single. John recorded it on one cassette, and that's what they used, and they had to produce the crap out of it.
I have the 7-inch single for Real Love, but I don't have it for Free as a Bird. But I have the anthologies on vinyl, and I will bust out the first anthology, even though I'm not a huge fan of the early Beatles material. I'll bust it out just to listen to that song.
Yeah, and that's a fantastic song. So I think for me, that's just it's a nostalgia thing there,
for sure.
And how
cool. That would have been that's probably 5 or 6 years before you really got into them too. Yeah. So it was fresh.
Yeah, very much
for a band who had a member pass 20 years before that song came out and hadn't had a new record since 10 years before that member passed. To still be able to put out some sort of new and have it be good.
Yes.
There's many ways that could have went sideways.
Yep. Absolutely.
So, example, Michael Jackson's postmortem tracks. Where Sony put out one record that I refuse to acknowledge even exists on this earth because they used a impersonator on 3 of the tracks, and with the Beatles song, you can tell that it's John on those tracks, and through the miracle of technology, they were able to clean it up enough to where if I played that song for somebody right now and didn't tell them how it came about, they would have no idea.
You do know who produced that song?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Okay,
come on now.
Are you going to fill in the
rest
rest of the
will you share
class,
with the rest of the class, Josh?
That would be Jeff Lynne from ELO.
ELO, Heartbreakers fame, Wilburys fame.
Yep.
Yeah. So, Michelle, what if you do you have a favorite Beatles song?
I mean, Run for Your Life is one of my favorites. But you know what song that I always forget about that is one of my favorites is Twist and Shout.
Yeah.
It instantly puts me in a good mood.
Oh, well,
like
yeah.
I can't help it.
Plus, it's featured in the greatest motion picture ever filmed.
That's
Ferris
exactly
Bueller's
what
Day
I think
Off.
of too. But like every time I think of the Beatles, I never think of that song, and then I just am like, every time I hear it, I'm like, oh yeah.
I was talking
love
to
this
a
song.
friend this week saying that the John Hughes, the director of Ferris Bueller's Day Off, was like an enormous Beatles fan, and he always wanted to work a Beatles song into a movie. And then he finally got Paul McCartney to sign off on Twist and Shout being in Ferris Bueller's Day Off. And the urban legend is that when Paul McCartney saw the film, he was like, I don't know why they put horns in it. Because it's in a parade, Paul. Because it's in a parade, damn it.
I like a lot of the early stuff too.
See, I come and go with the early stuff. Like, if it comes, I would never turn it off, but
Yeah.
I would never put it on. If I'm reaching for a Beatles record,
Right.
it's Rubber Soul on
Yeah.
for me. I'm just not, and part of that might be the air supply. Like, anything you turn on, you're going to hear, I want to hold your hand,
That's
help,
what
twist and shout.
I can't help it, man. They're like
Okay.
earworms for me, and they
Yeah,
just
yeah.
And so like,
you and
that's all.
80 billion other people
Yeah.
from 64 on. There's a reason why this music.
I see what you did there.
Yeah.
64.
Mm-hmm.
I see.
Yeah. So there's a reason why that material has endured.
Yeah, for sure.
Because it's amazing.
And like, they're not like deep lyrics. They're just
For sure.
And so like, but it's just.
Even some of their stuff in their later years, I think that some people consider deep, I think was gibberish, and people have put their own
What's
meaning.
that one song
And
that
then
you love
joking
on the White Album? It's just gibberish.
Why don't we do it in the road?
Yep, that's the one.
That's not gibberish. It's very clear.
It's just that over and over and over
Which,
again.
by the way, if you get the Beatles anthology, there is a wonderful version of that where Paul is sky high.
That's what I was thinking of when you
and he's
played it for me.
And he's like whispering it to himself. It is wonderful. And then he keeps he keeps like going out of control. Like, you know how the album version is like, why don't we? The version on the anthology, he sounds like he's high enough to where he just now was like, what are these white keys in front of me? Like before he touched the piano, like he was like, what are these things?
Do you think anyone has ever covered that?
I'm certain somebody has.
Why don't we do it on the road?
It's probably hard to remember all the lyrics, though.
That's what I'm saying.
But yeah, things like that I just love. But my favorite Beatles song might be cliche, but damn it, if In My Life isn't one of the best songs you'll ever hear in your whole life.
That's a good song.
If In My Life was an instrumental, just based on the guitar work alone, it's so simple and so beautiful. You know? And then the lyrics are so, you talk about a nostalgia song. That's the king of them. You in the 3.5 or 4 minutes that song is, you can sit and reflect on your entire lifetime. Just because of the lyrics of that song.
It's so peaceful.
Yeah,
it's just a calming song.
Absolutely. So the next one's probably going to be controversial for us and the listeners. Who's the best Beatle? Who's your favorite Beatle? What Michelle? Do you not have a preference? Because I'm not kidding. You would be the only person on earth who doesn't have a preference.
I don't have a preference.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know.
You don't put Ringo on equal footing with the other three.
She gets Ringo by default.
I don't. Just because I don't have a favorite doesn't mean that they're all on the same even keel.
Oh boy!
So it sounds like somebody's got a favorite.
She's got.
These aren't your kids, You can pick a favorite Beatle.
I don't have one. On their own, I don't have one.
As far as Ringo, by the way, one of my all-time favorite Ringo jokes is the Family Guy thing, where it's how they always do that. That's like the time, and they do a cutaway.
Yeah.
There's one where they're like. We'll treat that like the Beatles treat it when Ringo wrote a song, and Ringo is like, he cuts away, and he's like, I wrote a song, and they're like, that's very nice. We'll put it right here on the fridge so everyone can see it. And what's funny is one of my favorite Beatles songs, Ringo sings, "Don't Pass Me By" on the White Album. I love that song.
But he's not your favorite Beatle?
No, Ringo's no one's favorite Beatle.
What if he was mine?
He's not.
Ringo's not even Ringo's.
Yeah, Ringo's.
Beatle.
That's another Family Guy thing. Nobody wants to be Peter Criss. Not even Peter Criss. For me, I'm a George guy all day, every day, and I will fight you on that. Like, when people are like sitting around going to have their big Lennon-McCartney battles, and they're throwing song titles at each other, well, this one wrote Let It Be, and this one wrote Blackbird, and I'm just sitting on the side with my, as they say in Dewey Cox, well, I'm just over here while my guitar gently whimpers, like I'm just over on the side being like, y'all are wrong, man. The Silent Beatles the way to go,
right.
And who do you have a favorite? I feel like you're either a Lennon or McCartney guy.
It's definitely between those two, but
Juice and Solheim?
No. The majority of the world is a Lennon or McCartney guy. But it's those people that get into those huge arguments. I don't. I just sit on the side and I'm like, okay, but George is better.
You're both stupid. Yeah, that's what's happening.
Yes. He did say he would fight someone, so.
Yep. For me, I tend to, it's kind of weird, but I kind of tend to go towards Lennon more. As I don't know, as I get older, that's where I kind of go. I think starting off when I first started listening to the Beatles, Paul was kind of naturally the guy I kind of followed he had a lot of good.
If Paul hadn't died so young, he would have gone on to great things. You know what? We could probably do a whole special on that. Do you know a lot about that? The Paul is dead controversy?
I know that it exists, but I've never looked into it.
For those listening, we're not going to get into it right now, but yes, there was a very believable rumor that Paul just died in the middle of the Beatles' height of their popularity, and they replaced him with someone else. And there's
Avril Lavigne all over again?
We should it was
the original
Avril Lavigne. Yeah, and you know what? We should do a whole episode on that because it's fascinating.
I would love to learn about that.
All the things that on the later records that people were like, these are clues.
It's amazing.
Yeah, it's really something.
I don't know who has that kind of time, but it's impressive.
Oh, there's plenty of people who have all that kind of time.
Hey, Josh, you're in the middle of recording with people who have that kind of time. So, Lennon guy, and is there? He's just wrote more overall.
I think just his, just overall how he carried himself and how he, his style. Of how he's saying
what the French call a certain I don't know what.
Yeah,
exactly. I will say that for John Lennon, for all of his faults, if people want to say, because John Lennon is in many ways the Roger Waters of the Beatles, where he's always speaking out about things, or was, and whether or not you like what John had to say, the dude could elicit a reaction.
Yeah.
I mean, starting with the Beatles are bigger than Jesus.
Yep.
All the way through till the end. He had an opinion.
Yeah.
He gave 0 Fs.
Yeah, zero.
Yeah.
And I got to admire that, to some extent. You don't have to like what he's saying, but the fact that he can get a reaction, and when he puts pen to paper, is able, there was never, other than some of the diss songs, which we'll get into in a minute, from the solo material, nothing that he ever wrote really was anything but trying to be universal and all-inclusive.
Right.
So I hear that argument, but I'm telling you right now, as sure as we're sitting here, there's 20 people listening right now that are like, you are insane. Paul is the greatest ever, and I don't like John because he spoke out, or you know what I mean?
Right.
Did we do a poll on this?
We did not, but we will next week.
I'd be interested to see.
We had a poll yesterday. It got like 400 votes on Twitter, which was nice. It was just how you consume music. I figured streaming was going to win it, and it did. But vinyl came in second, which I was pretty happy with. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, there was that music news.
Oh, well, I'll take it offline and tell you why I didn't want to talk about that. But yeah, there was a news story that broke that said vinyl outsold CDs. I question the legitimacy of that for several reasons. Plus, it gets reported like every 6 months. As if it's new news. So I'll take that offline. I'm certain everyone that listens to this show has seen that story because yesterday 4 people sent it to me within 10 minutes. So
I saw you got tagged in there a couple times.
Yeah. Which, by the way, is awesome. I love that people see that and they think of me, which is great. Having said that, I don't know this about you. I know this about you, Josh, but I don't know this about you, Michelle. Have you really ever dug into a lot of the solo Beatle material? Mm-mm. No. See, I thought it was a no for you.
And I think that's why I don't have a favorite one. They just for me, the Beatles are a band, and
which is funny because I don't. Well, spoil my own answer. I don't listen to a lot of their solo stuff, and I've never been more attracted to George's solo stuff than Paul or John's.
Yeah, I don't. They're just very much a group to me, and not that I dislike any of their solo stuff, but I just never got into it. It was just more like it was there for me.
Yeah. Most Beatles fans would be so mad, but my favorite George solo song is "I Got My Mind Set on You," which in a world where all things must pass exists, there people are probably like, "What?" But I personally, the best thing that ever came out of the Beatles members doing something is the Traveling Wilburys, where George was one of the Wilburys. That's just for me. But it's not that you don't want to listen to their stuff. You just really haven't.
No, it's not that I dislike it at all. Everything that I've heard, everything that's in the air supply that I've heard, I've been like, yeah, that's good.
Band on the Run and
I just
Imagine.
Yeah, it just yep, that's a song.
It's just there, yeah. I've never heard the Jet and Wings and stuff that, or not Jet, Wings. Jet is a Wings song.
Yes.
I've never heard any, Band on the Run is a great song, but it's never made me be like, oh, I should buy a Wings record, you know? So where are you at, Josh? I feel like you've dug into probably way more of their solo stuff than at least we have.
Yeah, I mean, I've dug into it. I haven't got real heavy into it. I've listened to probably more Paul and John than I have any of the others. Ringo tries hard. Good, God bless him.
Yeah,
but,
good for him.
You know, Back Off Boogaloo's a good jam, but you know, I don't know what else to say about him. But you know, I'm not as well versed in their solo stuff as I should be. But
not so much as you should be either. You know, I don't think it's necessary for you to have like. Again, I'm making a comparison to Floyd, but I truly love the solo output that Roger put out. But like, I don't feel the need to, like, Nick Mason, even the drummer for Pink Floyd, has a couple of solo records, and Rick Wright had a couple of solo records. I don't feel the need to like listen to that stuff because I'm a Floyd fan. You know, like, I've heard it once or twice, and it was just there for me. Roger's stuff I listen to as much or more than I do Floyd, but it's not because he wrote Pink Floyd songs. It's because I genuinely love those albums. Right. And I don't think there's anything that says you should have to.
Yeah, like I listened to, like, on a long drive once, I listened to the new Paul McCartney album, and I was just like,
I've always heard real hit or miss things about those 90s.
There's a couple of good songs, and then, like, there's not, you know, it's just kind of whatever. But
and just last night we were listening to Say Say Say, which I think is a great Paul McCartney cut.
It is.
And I think it's the way better of the two songs that him and Michael did, which is bummer for me because The Girl Is Mine is on Thriller, and I like the other song that ended up on Paul's record way better. And I think we got into this a little bit last night too, like what would John have been up to if he'd lived past December of 1980?
Right.
I think we both agreed we think he would have went the 80s pop route.
Yeah.
That's what you guys have said?
That's what we think, yeah.
He would have turned over.
And the reason why I think that is because I think George was overall the Beatle with the most integrity as far as like the artistic vision after they split.
Right.
And you go from All Things Must Pass to I Got My Mind Set on You real fast.
Yes, he did.
You know, so you know, I don't think that John would have been. And also, John was always about exploring new sounds and whatnot too. So I don't know if it would have been necessarily a sellout move. It very much would have been like, okay, well, let's try this sound now.
Right. Well, like whatever gets you through the night. Right.
We're going to do a whole episode about diss songs one day, and damn it, that's going to be half the discussion.
Ooh, that's going to be a good one.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. I was just reminded of that the other night just because I've been listening to a lot of Black Rose lately and Rich.
Because you were finding diss songs for people to send to people?
Yes. Yes. I was like,
here, listen to this.
How do I low-key, passive-aggressive make Michelle mad? I'm going to put all these songs on a playlist and just send it to her and be like, hey, I think you should hear these.
I put these together for you.
Yeah, but there's ones that people always know about, like, you know, on Rumors, there's songs where those guys are singing on songs about people who are singing with them on the song, you know?
Do you think they knew?
And they're not saying nice things. And then whatever gets you through the night. Do you know this song, Michelle?
I'm sure if you played it, but
if can you nutshell? I mean, this is a nasty song. Yeah, can you nutshell it for Michelle? Like what the story is on it?
I can't.
Well, I mean, just kind of who recorded it and what's there's a couple of famous lines in it. Who it's directed towards?
Yeah, it's definitely directed towards Paul. I think you're thinking of How Do You Sleep, not whatever gets you through the night.
That is exactly what I'm thinking about.
Yep. So whatever gets you through the night. Where I was going with that earlier. No, that's fine. Where I was going with that earlier is it was very poppy. It was a very poppy song. It was like a disco song almost.
Right.
But How Do You Sleep? Oh, it's probably
damn. I'm so sorry. I messed that up.
It's the ultimate diss song to Paul. George plays on it.
Yeah, which is
Ringo.
That's really the only time that there was like a side taking.
Yeah. They definitely sided with John, and when I've actually watched the video. I think it was during that recording of that album. There's video footage of them playing, and George says, "All right, that's enough, John."
Yeah,
like flat out, like.
Yeah, the quiet Beatles spoke up.
I mean, he straight up told Paul the only thing you did was yesterday in that song.
Damn.
Yeah.
How long were they a band together before their first record? Like 8 years doesn't seem like a lot enough to hate somebody.
Because they would have.
They formed in '57.
Yeah,
and then
weren't they the Quarrymen?
Yeah, Quarrymen first.
Very good. Look at you.
I know you guys are only listening to this. She looks so proud of herself right now.
She's
now,
like,
did you?
I'm gonna go.
Yeah. Well, we're down Michelle and Kyle now because Michelle just hit her high point for the whole series.
Mic drop.
Yeah.
She knows Pete best too.
Yeah. And who was Stu Sutcliffe was the drummer before too.
I don't know that one, but I did know Pete best.
But so 5 years ish before Ringo walked in. Yeah. But when you said 8 years is not enough to hate each other. 1 year is enough to hate each other when you get lawyers and girlfriends and success involved.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And these guys, you got to remember, these cats were writing some of the greatest music that's been written since God wrote the Psalms, and everyone in every one of their camps is like, you are the greatest person that's ever been in existence of Earth. And if enough people are going to tell you that, you're going to start to believe it.
Right.
And they were constantly trying to outdo each other. And like you said, like for John to reduce Paul's entire output to yesterday,
right?
Are you kidding me?
Right.
He was just trying to make him mad.
Oh,
it worked.
And mission accomplished.
Yeah. I know how to do that. He was just trolling. I troll at Russ all the time.
That
was a tweet before a tweet.
Yeah. John was sitting on the couch and he was like, at Paul. The only thing you did was yesterday.
There it is.
Yeah.
There it is.
So what do we think about the Beatles' legacy going forward? I just talked about how for 50, 60 years people have been going about it, but you know what I haven't heard about in a minute? The Beatles. Like, I haven't heard a lot of younger folks talking about the Beatles much anymore.
You know a lot of younger folks?
I do know a lot of younger folks, yeah. I know some people that are younger than you, and you're old, so, that was the rage. But, what do you think about their legacy? Do you think, if given the current climate where literally no one talks about the Beatles except for us folks who already know about the Beatles, in 10 years, what do you think? Do you think they're going to start being forgotten?
I don't think so. I think every once in a while they just become, relevant again. I think there's a new movie that's going to be coming out, Let It Be.
I think that's going to go a long way.
I think that's going to resurface them again, and then kids that haven't heard them necessarily are going to fall right into it.
So we'll talk about the movie a little bit, because I think that's got to be the most exciting thing that's happened since maybe Free as a Bird.
I've been waiting. I feel like it's...
we've all been waiting.
What's that movie where the guy, gets struck by lightning and then he thinks that...
Yesterday.
Yesterday. I thought
it was so bad I couldn't even finish it.
I have a friend of mine that told me that as well. I thought it was fun. You
like that movie, but you didn't like...
That's not spoilers, but the scene with
Across
John.
the Universe?
Yes, thank you.
Oh, I hate it. Across the Universe.
I love Across the Universe.
But they, not spoilers, but the scene with John where they're sitting on the beach.
That was fantastic.
I cried the whole time. It was fantastic.
I don't think I got
it was
that far.
Best part in the whole movie.
You turned it off before that?
Yep, I'm pretty sure. I think it was like an hour and a half in, and I was like, why is this not over yet?
Without trying to be too spoilery, I mean, it's in an alternate universe where the Beatles didn't happen. So
I know
December of 1980 didn't happen.
You're talking to the listeners.
Well, I'm also looking and talking directly to you.
I saw it. Ish.
Yeah. So what I'm saying is that there's a scene in the movie that happens because December of 1980 never happened. So,
okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, having said that, what do you think about the legacy? Like, do you think that it's going to live on its own, or are we going to get to a point where people aren't really influenced or talking about the Beatles anymore?
I think that it's just going to be in the air supply, and I think that it's going to be it's going to be in movies. It's just iconic. I think that maybe at some point in like 50 years, it'll be, it'll be just there, but like...
Right. Well, sometimes I think about that, and then sometimes I'm like, yeah, but we'd still talk about Mozart and Beethoven.
That's what I'm saying. Like, they're that prolific that it will be talked about. Like, there will be... I think people are always going to go to Abbey Road, and they're always going to go where Lennon was shot, right?
The Dakota Building.
That's, So I feel like that's always going to be
Which
monuments.
I do not recommend, by the way.
I heard you said that it
wasn't
great.
I did that once. I was in New York City, and I went to the Dakota Building just to see it, and I stood on the doorstep, and I'm not a supernatural type believer person, and I'm not kidding you, the world's worst sense of like remorse and grief came over me just standing on the doors. I was like physically sick for the rest of the day.
Wow.
And I do not recommend, like, go physically see the building if you need to. And Strawberry Fields is right off of it in Central Park, but don't stand on the doorstep. I don't believe in like supernatural and curses, but that piece of concrete's cursed. Wow. But yeah, so you're saying just things like that, you think it'll live on? I just
think that it'll just be there. It'll be talked about in music history forever. It'll definitely be there. I don't know that it'll be as like making movies about it across the universe or whatever, but I do think
we don't need another across the universe.
Are you sure?
Mm-hmm.
I love that movie so much.
Do you know my problem? Where do you stand on that movie, Across the Universe?
They tried really hard.
They tried way too hard.
They tried really hard to make the songs tell a story.
You're speaking my language.
Get out.
Where did she come from? She came in through the bathroom window. Shut up. Don't try that hard. Damn it.
Yeah, it's over the top. corny.
It was inside of 3 minutes. I was like, I'm not going to like the rest of this. And I like all the players in it, like the actors and actresses that were in it. I thought they were wonderful. I just, and the premise is neat, but it's so forced that I couldn't take it. So, but in good Beatles movie news, and I was talking to a friend of the show, Mike Barkel, the other day on the phone in prep for this episode, and I was talking to him about what he thinks their legacy is going to be, and he reminded me about the Peter Jackson film that's coming.
Right.
And it was completely off my radar because it was supposed to come out this year, but then my Sharona, and we end up, with everything getting pushed to next year.
Right.
And have you heard about this Let It Be film that's coming?
I've heard about it.
Have you heard about the coronavirus? No. Have you heard about the Let It Be film that's coming?
No.
So, and you correct me if I'm wrong because you probably know more about this project than I do, but the short version is when Let It Be was their last record, and they all hated each other, and tons of the actual recording sessions for the album were recorded. The rooftop concert was filmed. The last time the Beatles played live was filmed, and just legally, they buried it. It was none of the footage was ever used. I think small clips have been shown.
There was an original Let It Be movie that came out,
but it was buried.
But it was I mean, it didn't. You can't even find it anywhere.
Yeah, and so
you can watch it on YouTube if you know what that is.
Yeah. Have you been to YouTube.com? And so the footage has all been gathered beyond remastered. All 4K scanned and all that. And Peter Jackson, who I think is best known for the Lord of the Rings films, is for the first time ever, it's being assembled into a definitive documentary of the end of the Beatles. And it's been pushed back to next year. I have to assume there's going to be a soundtrack album and a lot of hype and whatnot.
Right.
I think things like that.
You'll probably see a reissue of something crazy.
Yeah. And so I feel like where I feel here now today, I feel like no one's talking about the Beatles. I feel like that's going to be enough to carry it for the next decade.
Right.
Yeah. How old is Paul McCartney?
I don't know. 70s.
He's I think he's pushing close to 80.
I was just wondering if he was ever going to tour again. I would go see him.
Yeah.
Not for hundreds of dollars.
I had tickets to see him once.
Before the Rona. I think
he was touring.
Okay.
Prior. Yep. So that's the same thing I'm waiting for. Roger Waters is in the exact same age bracket within 2 or 3 years of Paul. And I was waiting for him again this year. And so now I got to hope he makes it to next year.
Right.
See him one more time.
Yeah.
So here's the last question that I have for you guys. And I think I know the answer to this, but I'm going to ask you guys anyways. If you had someone come to you and go, hey, where do I even start with the Beatles? What are you going to tell them to listen to first? Because you wouldn't necessarily, I don't know if you would tell them, start with Rubber Soul. Where would you, if someone said to you, hey, I'm going to the record store, what Beatles record should I buy? What would you say? Okay, well, think about it for a minute. Josh, if someone was going to the record store, what Beatles record would you tell them to buy?
I would tell them to buy Beatles Love.
Man, stealing my thunder.
Yep.
I absolutely would tell someone to buy
because
Love.
Anything and everything that is the Beatles, you're going to hear it on
Here's
that
how
album.
good Beatles Love is. And I had to text you to ask this actually years ago. I don't like the song Hello Goodbye by the Beatles. It's just never been my jam at all. And that remix album is so good that they use a part of Hello Goodbye in my favorite track on it. And I texted you to be like, what is that from? And it was like 10 minutes later you text back and you're like, hello, goodbye. And I was like, that's why I don't know what this is from.
Right.
But it's so good that it made me love a part of a song I've never liked.
Right.
And for those listening, if you haven't heard this, there's a as my wife's grandmother says, there's a Cirque du Soleil show in Las Vegas, Cirque du Soleil show in Las Vegas called The Beatles Love, and Giles Martin remixed a lot of the Beatles material to go along with the show in the best way I can use the word remix. It's beautiful,
right?
And it's on streaming, and I'll put a couple of songs from it on the playlist. But I think that record would get anybody in it because it's a very good representation of all the different types of music they did on it.
Right.
And then if you like how Eleanor Rigby is mostly instrumental on there. There's like a verse and a half of lyric on it. Mm-hmm. But if you heard that and you fall in love with that, and then you go back and you hear Eleanor Rigby for the first time, you would just be like, oh, this is the greatest thing ever.
It's going to send you on the deep dive.
Well, I didn't know we were talking about like greatest hits too.
Well, and that's I thought for sure. I thought you were going to say that one, the Beatles.
Well, yeah,
one.
but I thought you were saying like one record, and I was like, well, there's so many questions you have to ask. Like, what kind of music do you like? I just feel like.
Well, did you see how Josh just spit an answer out, and then we just had a whole conversation about it? It was amazing.
Usually, it's not greatest hits. Usually, that's not involved.
Hey, Josh, we're going to have a permanent opening on the show if you want to join.
It's Kyle.
I've been bet we all the whole episode to go, come on, Michelle.
Oh, yeah. He was so excited last night. He's like, I'm going to call her Michelle. And I was like, she'll get it. Yep. She loves that song.
That's your album.
Yeah.
You know what never gets old is when people call me Michelle Maybell.
Oh, yeah. You know, for me personally, my thoughts on you more echo the Guns N' Roses song, My Michelle.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. Really, the first couple of lines tell you pretty much what I think of
Michelle, a little soft and sweet. That might be
That's
accurate.
not this one.
No.
So what...
Shut up already. Damn.
Prince chimes in. They'll tell me to hush up now. So having said, your gut would say that then you would go one?
Everyone, even if they owned I feel like owned Beatles stuff before, when that record came out, I just remember like getting into like my friend's car and it was just in there I was like,
you go test drive a car and they're like, if you want to check the sound system, there's a copy of Beatles 1.
Yeah, like it was everywhere, and I just feel like that is it. Like everyone
go in a public restroom and there's a bathroom attendant handing out copies of the Beatles 1.
They just sent it in the mail. I feel like it was everywhere.
Yeah. So and again, hits packages are great to start with, and you do get a good cross section of
everything
Beatles stuff.
It covers the spectrum.
I just think that Love is so unique on its own that it was to me, the listener would get to discover the Beatles twice because you get to hear it one way.
But that's not really the Beatles. I mean, it is, but it's not like the way that they had intended it.
I'm going to say this as nicely as I can. How damn dare you?
It's
not the Beatles. It's the fifth Beatle remixing everything.
All right, whatever.
There's no falls on that album. That's for sure. He might be there.
Yeah,
he might be there.
He might be there. Well, I think and like I say, I'm certain we're going to revisit this topic in the future. We have a lot of friends who are.
Let's do a whole episode on Rubber Soul.
I wouldn't mind it.
Like an album spotlight.
Yeah, it'd be fun. And actually, I do want to get into that in the future. I'd like to do some episodes like around classic records and stuff. So, anyways, having said that, Josh, thanks so much for joining us.
Yeah,
brother.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
I think this was great. I want to say that. Oh, there you go.
I got approval from Michelle. That's all I can ask for.
You did. I want to say that Josh came more prepared than we've ever been for a show. He has his notes.
I wikied some stuff.
You read one note once that I sent you.
No, I'm saying while we were sitting here, I looked up some stuff.
Oh,
so
yeah. If you look at her Google history right now, it says, "What were the Beatles called before the Beatles?"
No, I knew that.
And then she was like, "Oh, was it the Quarrymen?"
Yeah, she was all over it. It was
like, "What is the Beatles?"
She said it in the phrase of a question, though. Yeah. It was like, "What is the Quarrymen?"
As soon as we started recording this, she was like, I should find out about this Beatles band.
What were their names again?
Yeah. But I do want to say the other thing that I think, and I think I'm going to take a picture of this for our social media next week. Josh's notes are in the Beatles font, which I think is really, really dope.
I got creative.
He did get creative. Well,
I do love a good font.
When you're talking about the Beatles, it's a good way to be is creative. So, as we always mention, we will have the Spotify playlist, which is going to be Beatles heavy this week, but you'll be able to hear Josh's Jammy Jams on there, mine, and the highlight of, I think, everyone's week, Michelle's Jammy Jams, will be there on there as well. And we have the website out now. And as always, if you want to support us, which this show is pretty much brought to you by the supporters that we have, you can just go to anchor.fm/Infectious Groove Podcast, hit the support button, and support us for as little as $1 a month. We greatly appreciate you guys listening. I don't even know what the plan is for next week, but we'll all find out together. So
it'll be an adventure.
It'll be hopefully the return of Kyle. So thanks a lot for listening. Without music, life would be a mistake. Bye.
Bye. The Infectious Groove Podcast is hosted by Russ Robinson, Kyle Wimple, and Michelle Koselecki. Produced and edited by Russ Robinson. Intro and outro music composed by Chris Kimmel. Opening credits read by Stacey Robinson. Recorded with the Rode Podcaster Pro and Rode Pod mics.